Alright, what's up guys? Today we're back on the Jeep and we're going to do a quick install video on new shocks, steering stabilizer, and quick disconnects. Let's jump into it. Alright, so I got just the Quadratec Nitro shocks. They were, fairly budget steering stabilizer, budget quick disconnects. The reason I'm not spending a ton on this is I plan on doing a new lift soon. Like I said in previous videos, I only have a 2.5-inch lift on the Jeep, and it's like an old rough country lift, and I don't plan on doing the new lift this year, so I want to be able to get it through to next year. And the shocks on this lift are just completely blown out at this point. I was just off-roading a week or two ago, which I'll have a video on that soon. And the Jeep was just going everywhere. There was no stability in it at all. So we're just going to do some budget shocks and just to get us through to next year. Hopefully it'll be just a bit better, and it'll just make driving it a little more enjoyable. Alright, so I got these shocks pulled off. So on the left is the old one, on the right is the new ones. So you can see these are a little beefier. Like I said, cheap shocks just to get me through till we do a new lift. So fun little thing about this shock, if you look at it, you can see it's a little bent. So and up there too. So a year or two ago, I actually hit a deer with my Jeep, and essentially the deer bounced off my front bumper and hit my passenger side tire, and so it did virtually no body damage, but all my suspension on that side just took the full weight of the deer. So all the control arms, uppers and lowers, had to be replaced. And these shocks, especially this one, had a little fun hitting the shock tower. So like I said, just now getting around to replacing these, but that definitely affects the performance a little bit. So let's get these new ones in there, and hopefully it'll be a little better. Alright, so we got the front shocks in. They went in pretty easy. I ended up using some new bolts down here. The kit didn't come with it, but not a big deal. So we got that. I got the front steering stabilizer pulled off. That was a pain. That did not want to come out. Alright, yeah, so this had a difficult time coming out. I ended up using just a Pitman arm puller and convinced it to come out. So this thing is just junk. I don't know how old that is. I don't know if it's been replaced or not, but I figured I'd just do a new one anyways because they're pretty cheap. Comes with all new hardware, so should go on pretty easy. Let's get that thrown on. Alright, it's another day here. We got the front shocks installed and the steering stabilizer all in. They went in pretty easily. There's a few, issues like normal, but wasn't too bad. So now we're going to work on getting these sway bar disconnects installed. Hopefully they'll go in pretty easily. These ones aren't in terrible shape. They're actually fairly new, the end links, but this side is obviously not seated in there. That bolt kind of screwed up on me last time I was trying to tighten it back up, so these will be a lot better. It'll be a lot easier to disconnect the sway bar when I'm off-roading. Right now you gotta unbolt that and swing it up and it hits everything and it's just not very effective. So yeah, let's start pulling these off. Alright, so we got the quick disconnects in. So these just unhook right there, and then it folds up and hooks right into there, so it's out of the way when you're off-roading. I only put one of these bolts in. There's another one up here I just can't get to it. It's not really important at all, so I don't really care. But yeah, that was went pretty smoothly. So now let's hop onto the back and do the shocks. All right, so unfortunately the rears haven't gone, as smooth as I was hoping to. If you've ever done these, or if you know on Wranglers, the upper shock mounts right up in here, I don't know if I can get a good enough view on that, but the bolts tend to break on them. And so, when you're trying to change these shocks, going from there up, it's a pain to get those out because the entrance to them is up top here. And I have a body lift, so I can get to them a little better, but regardless, it's not, a great situation. So because I have access, to a mill at work, I made these up. And the purpose of this is essentially just a bar pin eliminator. It gets rid of that bar that bolts up there. And so in theory, this would bolt where the stock shock would bolt to, and then you just send a bolt through it, and you'd get rid of those, the need to have to remove those bolts ever, because you just pull the pin out, or the bolt out. But a couple of issues with this. First off, these are just way too long. When you factor in the length from this end to the center of where the holes would be, it's like 1.5 inches too long. You're gonna lose a lot of travel on your shocks, which I knew making these. I don't really care too much because like I said, these shocks are pretty temporarily until we get a new lift going, and we're gonna do way bigger shocks anyways, and probably go outboard. So all of this is just temporary. So with the bolts breaking, this just wasn't going to work as well as I was hoping. So this is what I'm doing instead. So this is the same piece. I went and chopped the ears of it off like that, and then ran just a 3/8 hole through the top. So we got 2 taps up top, and the plan will be right in here. I gotta, I'll measure it out exactly. There's going to be, the 2 holes drilled through there. So this will bolt underneath. And that lines up right in here. And so the shock will go up through the factory hole to there and mount up through here. And it'll actually give us a little more travel on that. So as far as up travel goes, we'll be a little better. Not that it really matters that much for this, but, it's worth being said. And I believe it'll work out pretty good. It doesn't look like anything's gonna hit. The only thing I'm concerned about is just the strength of this tub here and the shock being there. It shouldn't face too much abuse, just with I don't think I'm doing anything crazy with these shocks setups, for now. But I may reinforce that, but we'll see when we get there. But for now, this does look like it's gonna work out pretty okay. Yeah, I'll show you how it looks. Alright, so I got both of these matching now, and then I went ahead and welded a nut on the end there, so that way when we put the bolt through, it'll just thread right in, so we don't gotta try to tighten it from the back. Had I thought about it when I was doing it, I would actually just, tap that when I was building these, but, I didn't feel like making new ones. Alright, so once again, some things have been changed. So you can see, first off, they're depainted. So I ended up cleaning these back up with the mill so that they're, not all janky looking. Really not a big deal at all, but just makes it look a little cleaner. I'll feel a little better about it. And then also these angles right here, those I just quickly made up. They just got sorry about the lighting, but I just have a hole drilled in there. And so what that's gonna do is that'll go on top of here, so that it'll reinforce up here. And then I believe, I'm not positive what I'm going to do just yet, but I'll probably run some bolts through here, through whatever is on the other side of this. I gotta look, and that'll be plenty of strong for what we're doing. You know, it's these are super thick, so I'm not really concerned about that. But you can see the shock mounts right up through there. There's plenty of clearance underneath, so it shouldn't hit anything. The only thing is this bolt is pretty tight to try to actually spin, because it hits on the frame, so we just got to figure that out. But other than that, this is looking like it should work. Alright, so one last little update on this. So you can see the brackets are in, the shocks are in. So what I ended up doing was I installed these brackets in there, and it worked a lot better, but it was still very flimsy on the bottom here because this is very thin. So what I did was I tapped this other side of it, had to chop it off there so that the seat can still hook in here, and then on the other side here, up under the fender well there, I just put a plate with the bolts going through. Sorry, it's in the way, so I can't really give you guys a great view of it, but you can see the bracket right there, and then it bolts up top. And now that, or having done that, it's a lot more stiff. There's zero flex in here from the suspension, and yeah, so it's gonna be a lot better. Like I said, this is temporary, just to get me through till we do the new suspension. Was this worth it? Not at all. If I were you, I'd just re-drill out the original shock mounts and do a bar pin eliminator or something. But you know, it's one of those things where once you get into it and you kind of just want to finish the idea, and yeah, so I mean, it works, but wasn't really worth it. Right there, this one too, I'm gonna have to yeah, the light in here is not good. I'm gonna have to re-tap that just because it didn't want to go in right, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for that. So that's gonna do it for this episode. I'm about 2 subscribers away from 100, so thank you guys very much for that. It's just pretty cool to have 100 people watching, so thank you for that. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. So as far as what's next for the Jeep, I got some fun stuff planned for it. I've been kind of working together the idea to do a supercharger on the Jeep, like the M90 supercharger. A lot of work, it's a lot of figuring out, so I'm still trying to get that down, but that should be coming in the future. And then as well as right here, that's a 5.3 LS that we're going to do for the Camaro this winter, so I'm going to start rebuilding all that, and definitely going to have some videos on that. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.